Hi everyone! Today we'll be showing you how to care for mint and basil plants. We'll be going over how to maintain good quality soil, water each plant sufficiently, and tend to their well-beings. So here we have a mint plant. It's super easy to grow and it adds so much flavor while cooking. I have it in a container, but it can also be grown in the ground. If you have one in a container like me, it's better to keep them on a high area so that they don't flop over and touch the ground. Ideally, the soil should be moist, well-drained, and full of rich organic matter. I picked out a premium bagged potting mix here in the pot. You can add in a couple inches of H-compost for improved texture and nutrition. If you choose to plant it directly in the ground, test the soil pH to make sure it's between 6 and 7. The most important thing to remember is to always keep the soil moist. Our next plant is our basil plant. Here it is indoor. Taking care of its soil is actually pretty straightforward. You must keep your basil in a well-drained container in nutrient-rich soil. It's best to put organic fertilizer in your basil plant if you plan to eat it, which I hope you do. To water your mint plant, here's what you should do. So mint benefits from heavy watering, but it should be done on a less infrequent basis. A good hint for when you should water it is just by looking at how dry or moist the top layer of soil is. I prefer to water mine in the morning so that it's prepared for a hot day, and I'll usually check up on it more during the summer months. Again, the basic idea is to keep it moist at all times. At the same time, you want to make sure it's not too soggy and provide adequate drainage through holes in the bottom of the container. Something to help with the evaporation is mulch spread around the base. In contrast to mint, basil does not like to be watered heavily, so make sure the pot has holes or openings at the bottom. The soil should never be soggy. I suggest using a spray bottle so you can monitor how much more you should spray. Spray enough to make the soil moist. Otherwise, the roots will be prone to rotting. Start by watering once a week, but if the soil becomes dry easily, then water twice a week. For mint plants, regular maintenance involves cutting the tips off the plant regularly and pulling out any runners, which are basically any connections between two plants. In about 2 months, it should grow to a decent height at which you can begin harvesting. Mint can be harvested at any size, but for maximum flavor, it's best to cut the plant just before it flowers or blooms, and it's really cool because you can pick out almost the entire plant and it will regrow from just a few remaining leaves. If you want to grow your mint plant into a mint garden, all you need to do is cut a stem and grow it in a different area of your soil, and soon you'll have enough mint and won't have to worry about running to the grocery store last minute for that pesto sauce. For basil, it's important to make sure your plant receives sunlight. Indoor basil requires at least 6 hours of sunlight, so if you can place it near a sunny window, that would be best. You can harvest your basil plant at any time, and it is recommended to pick from the top of the plant first, but don't take more than 1/3 of the plant so you can continue to have basil to harvest. Otherwise, if the basil grows too big, you can tend to it by pinching off about 2 or 4 very small leaves from the growing tips of the stems every few weeks. A great way to keep your plants well fertilized is by using worm tea. Worm tea is a plant probiotic that helps your plant absorb nutrients better. You will start with a cup of water that is unchlorinated, and the best bet you have at ensuring your water is unchlorinated is by keeping it out in a cup for 24 hours before mixing it with your worm tea. The worm tea to water ratio needs to be 1:40, so for example, a pint of worm tea concentrate mixes perfectly with 5 gallons of water. Just remember that the worm tea needs to be well diluted, and it is best to not put too much into your plant at one time. Put just enough mixture that your plant needs when you water it regularly. Thank you so much for watching. Happy gardening!